In this video, we'll discuss the elements of a high converting squeeze page. So I'll just discuss the best practices for this. So remember that the goal of a squeeze page is to capture a user's email address. So everything about that page must prioritize that top goal. Okay, so there has to be a persuasive headline and a subheadline. And the headline should convey the value proposition. So it means that it's very benefit driven and it communicates straight away to the reader what exactly are the benefits that they're going to get and why they should give up their email address and other personal details, right? The headline and subheadline must be attention grabbing, of course. And sometimes there are benefits in the form of bullets, right? Bullet points. Now, this is not always the case, especially if the squeeze page occupies just a small space, like it has limited space. But if the squeeze page is like a standalone page, then bullet points is normally appropriate. Okay, so the bullet points again must be benefit driven, and it just, even if the reader is not reading word for word, the bullet points must be very easy to understand. You know, the language is plain and conversational. It doesn't use big words. Big words are difficult to understand or digest. Okay, that way, even if the reader is not paying 100% attention, it's still easy for them to absorb the message that, oh, okay, this freebie is quite valuable and therefore I must subscribe, right? So in that sense, because the squeeze page is primarily geared towards getting the email address, it's very important to keep it focused. So it has to be minimalistic and no distractions as much as possible, which means that there are no other elements other than those elements that help get the reader to subscribe. Okay. And to that end, we normally do not have navigation links, and we even remove the footer or the footer links altogether. And just literally, when it comes to the squeeze page, it's literally just the elements that will get the reader to subscribe. If it doesn't help that aim, we remove it from the squeeze page. So same principle applies to the form fields. We need to keep it to absolute minimum. At the very least, we have the email address field there, and we may or may not want the first name field there. Depending on the main objective of the squeeze page itself, sometimes it makes sense to ask other information. So for example, you know, in the application form of InfoX, so we ask a few other questions, right? And then get them to pay the deposit. In that sense, it makes sense to ask other questions, but normally, if you just want them to subscribe, you put a little barrier between the reader and the action, the desired action, as much as possible. When it comes to the form fields as well, it helps if there are explanations or you indicate what's required or what's not required. If every field has labels and you give clues and guidance. So for example, rather than just putting there email, for example, you might want to put there, enter your email here, that kind of thing. I'll show you the InfluX one. So for example, on this one, right? Here, for example, if we really want this to be super, like even a 5-year-old will get it, we might put here, enter your email address here. And then here, instead of just name, we put enter your name here. But our audience are normally internet or tech savvy enough to know what this is. So this is enough. But if the audience, if the website is catering to less internet savvy people, you might wanna review the form explanations to make sure that the users get them. Okay, so that's it for the form fields. Now, social proof. Social proof is great when it comes to so social proof is great to have there because it builds your credibility and it gives the readers some sort of encouragement as to why they really should subscribe. So for example, in our standalone page, okay, we have here very short but very convincing testimonials or social proof. We have the face, we have their name, and these are actual influencers, right, who are saying glowing testimonials about us. So in that sense, they are effective here. So yeah, it helps when the social proof elements are from people whom the audience can relate with. Another important practice is to make sure that the call to action button or the call to action text as well stands out. So the CTA copy must be compelling. Okay, so refrain from just putting there submit or subscribe, that kind of thing. Try to use words that are more unusual or more compelling, like yes, I want it now, that kind of thing, or yes, send me the hacks that will let me become unstoppable, or yes, I want to be unstoppable. So the more unusual they are, the less generic they will appear. So it's like makes your squeeze page stand out better. And yes, of course, the button color and size must have high contrast against the background, and basically for the CTA button, if it pops out, then it helps to make it better in terms of conversion. Now the lead magnet could be an image or a video. If it's a video, then the image of the lead magnet should reflect that. And if it's a PDF or if it's a checklist or if it is an ebook, then the lead magnet image should convey that, but also convey the value. So if it's a video, for example, make use of a good screen, what do you call that? Like the image on top of the video that somehow gives a clue as to what the content of the video is. That must be chosen well and chosen carefully, and it must be chosen so that it somehow conveys one of the main benefits that the reader will get from watching the video. And of course, it has to be GDPR compliant. And what that means is just like on here, we have this subscribe to emails from the influencer, right? And they can tick it, and basically that's it. As far as what you need to know in terms of making a squeeze page GDPR compliant, you just need to add that little box there, ticky box. And the developer should already know how to implement this, but it's worth mentioning it here so that if in case it was forgotten, then you must implement this, make sure that it's there. Okay, another element that needs to be there on the squeeze page is like a reassuring statement, something that is usually put right below the CTA button or somewhere near there. And it says something along the lines of, we hate spam, we promise to never spam you, or we will never sell your personal details or do anything bad to it, right? Because a lot of people have resistance to giving up their email address, not because they don't want the freebie, but because they're afraid of what you might do with it. Like if you sell it to other people, then they'll start receiving all these spam emails and stuff like that. So it helps to boost your conversion when you reassure them that you will never sell their email and you'll only use it to communicate with them. So that is it for the squeeze page. I hope this has been useful.